12 and you're at the City of Opa-locka CRA board meeting, we're going to stand for invocation and for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pastor Kelly, Board Member Kelly, would you lead us in prayer and go right into invocation?
Eternal God, our Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for all of many blessings. Continue, God, to watch over this city. Continue, God, to watch over this board. Give us the wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to those things that are pleasing in your sight. In Jesus' name we do pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
can I ask for a moment of personal privilege?
Yes.
I'd like to have a moment of silence for the death of the father of our esteemed employee, Peggy. Peggy found out the news in the office last Friday. It was a shock to her. And so we love her and we know that she loved her father. And I would just like to have a moment of silence for him.
Thank you. Let's do that, please.
Thank you.
Thank you. And Peggy,
Yeah,
I
my
condolences to
condolences.
you and to your family during this time. No, it's not easy. When you lose a parent or a loved one. So we are going to be keeping you in our prayers and our thoughts. What you were saying something.
Yeah, I was gonna giving her my condolences as well to her and her family.
From all of us.
Yes.
Okay, we don't have a quorum this afternoon. We say welcome to everyone that's here this afternoon. Thank you so much for coming. We apologize because we don't have a quorum this afternoon. People are traveling for work and for different things. You know, it's the end of the summer, so everybody's trying to get it all in before they go back to work. So, but we are going to open up, have a discussion, and we're going to have public comments. If anyone would like to get up and give public comments, but we won't be voting on any items tonight. And just we'll hear from our director if he has any directions that he would like to give to us and our board members if they have any. So
Yeah, Madam Chair, if you could just state who's present, just for the record.
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't even do roll call.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Miss Peggy, roll call, please.
Board Member Bass. Board Member Irvin.
Here.
Board Member Kelly.
Present.
Board Member Taylor. Vice Chair Williams. Board Member Williams. Chair Russell.
Here.
Thank you.
Okay.
For the record, we don't have a quorum for today's meeting. It happens, but we're allowed to discuss items, or the director can state anything you'd like to state for the record. We can take any public comments, and then but we can't vote on any items.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up public comments. Public comments are open, so we're open to the public to hear your comments.
And if you could just state your full name and your address for the record when you're introducing yourself, please.
Hello, my name is Asim Malabad. I have several businesses in Opa-locka. I met the vice mayor and the commissioner in the past before.
Address.
Oh, sorry, 1890, 1900 Alibaba Avenue is the two buildings that we own. So I represent Halifax Properties LLC. I'm a general contractor. I'm also a licensed plumber, licensed mechanical, and licensed roofer. So we develop most of the time, and we also have a plastic bottle manufacturer on 149th and 27th. So I spoke with Chairwoman Ms. Russell, and she told me to introduce myself, and that's what I'm doing.
Thank you so much. He also stated that down in we call it the Triangle, Magnolia North is the new name for it, that he has some properties down there that he would also like to get.
Yeah, so we've been trying to redevelop those properties. They're two buildings since 2017. So I haven't found the right funding for it, and we've been having a few issues with parking, but I think we're getting that resolved. So the next step is finding the proper funding for it. Once the resolution is prepared.
Okay.
Is there anything else I need to say?
No, thank you so much for coming.
Madam
and-
Chair,
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to remember that.
Mhm.
You own some apartments down in
On the
Magnolia North
right-hand
on
side.
Yeah.
the south side. I think I'm trying to
Correct.
remember.
Right
I
off
met
Alley
you a
Pop.
while back because you had
Yes.
some
Right.
trying to develop with parking and they wanted you to do certain things.
Right, so essentially, we want to do it for affordable housing, so a lot of our tenants won't necessarily need the parking spaces. So that's probably a resolution that we're gonna try to go for.
Okay. Well,
Okay.
speak to the CRA director. Yeah, I remember it now.
Yeah.
I thought you looked familiar, but I was.
I did too. Yeah, I met with him.
All right.
Okay,
Okay, make sure you share your name and information with our CRA director or with the secretary so he can get in touch with you.
okay,
And
thank you.
thank you so much for being here as
Of course,
well.
thank-
Sorry we didn't have a quorum that we could go through business, but you're welcome to stay and hear us discuss any items that we have.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else? Okay. You almost got banned.
Brian Dennis, address 2140 Yorkshire. I feel like I got banned.
Why?
So the Barrett property and the Chinese flea market. Y'all doing a deal with StarX?
I'll refer that question to I didn't think we had anything, no. Anyway, I'll hold that for the director and let him answer that, because I don't have an answer for that question.
No,
Okay, when you're finished, go ahead, Brian.
Because I'm trying to figure out how things of economic development, we buying property that if Miami-Dade County wind up eventually bringing that rail north, that's going to be a lost cause. It's not going to be money well feasible and economically spent if they decide to take the rail from 79th Street down to the stadium. So the economic feasibility is what I'm looking at of it. So now, all these other businesses around here that we could help and support, we're going to bring in somebody that took their business outside of the city, but now in trouble wants to come in and get something from the city. So we're going to help that individual fix something with taxpayers' money without them raising a dime or putting up a dime.
that's not happening.
Well, wait until he's finished, and then if we have any comments, we'll come.
Yeah, I just want to get some clarity on it.
Yes, sir.
I really just want to get some clarity on it. I really want to understand how
Mr.
that works.
Talk in the mic. I can't hear.
I just want to get clarity on how that works. Because if you could go get somebody from the outside and buy property and fix them up to get a restaurant, then I think I should be able to do the same thing. Any other citizen should be able to apply and get free dollars and have the CRA buy it, fix it for us, and we should be able to walk right into it. That's any citizen in the city of Opa-locka. And supposedly that gentleman don't even live in Opa-locka. So I don't think that's money well spent. I don't ever recall it because I watched the meeting home. I don't ever recall any of this stuff coming before.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, but it's swinging out there in the community. So I'm going to show up and find out and act. I ain't going to sit on the bed this time. So I really want to know that.
Thank you, Mr. Dennis. I think I saw Board Member Kelly.
Well, I was waiting for you to close the thing before I
Okay.
say anything.
Anyone else for Citizens Forum? Okay. Citizens Forum is closed.
Madam Chair,
Yes, sir.
I just want to comment, and I always try to do when folks come before us. And to the gentleman back there, I know he has been trying to develop that property, so I'm hoping something will occur because it is been down a long time without any occupancy, and we have such a shortage of housing. So I look forward to meeting with the director to see what can happen with that property. With regard to what Mr. Dennis said, Nothing's come from the board before the board, so I'll let the director deal with that. But I do want to address the other point about the rail coming down 27th Avenue. You know, rail been coming for the last how many ever years. I mean, hopefully one day in my son's lifetime it comes, but I'm going to address that by saying something a little different. You control what can go in certain areas of your community when you own the property. One of the reasons we have, and it's not a negative thought on them, but one of the reasons we have some businesses where they are is because we don't have control of the property. There's certain things, in my opinion, should be on the front side of the interests of your city or into your city, but because we don't own it, we can't control it. Now, it was an opportunity with the Chinese restaurant, as you call it, to do something, and that's right on the main corridor. And so the CRA decided to buy it. Nothing has come for the board in terms of what's going to eventually be there. But in my opinion, at the point where we decide to go for it, I did not want to see something else on 27th Avenue in the main corridor that may not be something we would like to see as a city. And I don't want to give negativity to any business because everybody's trying to make a living. But you control. You go into certain cities, you don't see certain things in the entrance to those cities. There's certain developments or businesses that gives you that glad to be here feel. In our city, in some of the areas where interest is not, interest is not the same. So that's one of the reasons. The other property you referenced, the old restaurant, we did buy that as well because there has been interest of trying to have somewhere for folks to eat for lunch or breakfast, what have you. But what ultimately goes there, this board has not decided and it has not even been sent to us. So I will defer if the director wants to be more specific, but nothing is coming for the board. But I do think whether it's downtown Opa-locka, whether it's 27th Avenue, when you own the property, you can kind of control what goes on the property. And I'm hopeful, but I go back to when Commissioner Jordan was here at Miami-Dade College. You remember we're going to get the rail like in 2-3 years. I know Ms. Russell attended some of those meetings.
Yes.
And here we are in 2024, and the rail is still coming. And it might come. It might come, but we can't sit as a city for the next 10 years and somebody else had that property and does something with it that we may not want to see in our 27th Avenue corridor. So I want to answer that part. The director can weigh in on any specifics, but nothing's coming for the board yet. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Before you, Mr. Director,
Madam
Board Member
Chair.
Irving as well.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just, now that we have these properties and once they're completed, I'm sure they need work done to them. I just want that vetting process to be 120%. And I've been confirmed that you're the person to do it the right way. I just want to make sure everything is done because I too had a phone call on Saturday about some things. So let's just make sure all of our I's are dotted and our T's are crossed. And then I have one more question. Since and Kelly brought this up about the corridors and we put what we want to look like what I don't know if you know right now, but is that tire shop in the CRA zone? Can we help it look better?
I've tried to contact the two ladies that own it. I've been in the back of the restaurant. There's a restaurant next door to the tire shop, not a restaurant, like a cafeteria. I've been all the way back in there to meet with the old man myself inside his trailer that's back there. I've sent him the application twice. I hand delivered it to him. I think his two daughters own it. I put my email address, my cell phone number, and we still haven't gotten a call for them to take advantage of the commercial improvement program.
Oh my God.
And to answer,
Maybe because they speak Spanish, they're
they
concerned.
speak English.
Oh, shoot.
But I've been there personally twice.
Oh,
And I met with the first time after they didn't follow up. I went back. He says, "Oh, I can't believe my daughters didn't call you," and nope, not a phone call. And I think I emailed them as well.
maybe I'll swing by next week.
You
Okay.
gotta go all the way in the back.
Okay. Because
To Mr. Dennis's point, The rail issue, first of all, this property was in process of being purchased before I got here. And so we just closed the deal, number one. Number two, if the rail does come down there, the county would use the eminent domain process would repay us for the fair market value of our property. They're just not going to take it and give us nothing. The third thing was when we looked at what we were going to do with this site, nothing has happened in Opa-locka in a long time, right? And so we wanted to try to do something as quickly as possible. And one of the ways that you can do something as quickly as possible is through the procurement process allows for two things. It allows you to go straight to waive all procurement requirements and go, which would have to be done by a supermajority of the board, or through a request for a proposal. And so I decided that I was going to do homework to put feelers out there to see if anybody would be interested, if we can vet someone that we can possibly bring before the board to do a sole source, waiving procurement requirements and going directly with that person. We met with StarX, we met with Chef Creole, we met with the gentleman from Island Times, we met with the gentleman from we put feelers out to the gentleman from Lorna's, I think Lorna's in Miami Gardens.
Lawrence,
No. Is it Lorna's? Okay, so we put feelers out to different people. That took a couple months. We had a meeting with I don't know if you were on that call with David, with StarX, and we had a meeting with Chef Creole. And our concern was exactly your concern, that we would probably be putting all of the money into it and basically handing it over to someone. And I wasn't comfortable with that. I believe that that if you're going to come in here, you should have skin in the game, and we shouldn't be putting everything. And so from the beginning of the discussions with most of those people, that's where we were. And so I taking a step back. I think I told the chairwoman this and Commissioner Kelly when he asked a couple weeks ago. And I've reached out to Junior, who works here in the procurement department, and I said, let's start working on an RFP. I know it's going to take longer, but let's start working on an RFP so that we can dictate what we would accept. And so we're starting that process. It's going to take longer, and then we'll bring that RFP to the board to approve, and then we'll send it out. It didn't work out the first way that I tried, which was try to circumvent all of that. But it looks like we're going to have to do it that way anyways. And in the meantime, what I would hope to do, and this is I'm working on to bring to the October meeting, is at least start the build out of the shell of the place right away. So there are some people that we're talking to as well about who could give us the best price informally to just make it a white box, so that when we're all ready, we don't have to start 6 months from now that process. So that's where we are with those properties.
okay, thank you, Mr. Director. Great information. I know that I've been contacted because they see our pictures up. So people have been calling, trying to find out what's going there. And I'm of the mindset of Board Member Kelly. When you own the property, you could dictate what happens there. And I think from the time that our Director Jason have been here, this board have been very upfront and very clear as to what we would like to see in the quarter. I was very excited today when I saw fishing next to Miami Fishing something on 27th Avenue. I saw the windows, the boards came down, and I saw the windows there. I was very excited to see that. That lets us know that we are making some progress. We don't just have signs up. We are making some progress. And those businesses approach the CRA because we have a business assistance program, and they approach the CRA with those projects. I think in the office, you all have pictures of all of the projects that we're working on. How many projects is it?
I think we're up to 16 right now, and
16?
16. And just to correct you, out of the 16, I believe Tommy Cycle, which I think is on the agenda tonight, was the only one that approached us. We went out
Oh, okay.
and we hit the pavement and we handed out the applications to the buildings that we thought were in the strategic areas on the corners of major thoroughfares that we thought needed just like I told you, the tire shop. We went to the tire shop. We went to the liquor store. We went to the place that you just mentioned right now. We went to the print shop across the street and handed them the application and walked them through the process.
Board Member Kelly.
You know, this the pastor in me. When I see a group of folks from the same church together, I'm curious what they're here for. So I don't know if they're here for an item on the agenda or just sitting in, but they're all from the same group. Now they all gonna look down and smile, but I
That's why I asked again and again, do you want?
yeah, they didn't get up to speak, so I mean, they're part of a discussion item coming up or something. I was just curious because they're sitting there and they ain't saying a word. They're just sitting in. So I can verify y'all was here if y'all need me to.
Well, I'm with Board Member Irving. My daughter said to me the other day, Mama, CRA can't do nothing. Y'all can't encourage the people at the tire shop to at least wash down you know, where they're changing tires and things that all the time. I say, well, people have to want the help. And so we're gonna keep trying with them because that's a really, really sore eye with that tire shop.
I'll go by again tomorrow.
Yeah, that's a really sore eye. And, you know, sometimes they have tires up to the ceiling outside. I don't know, you know, what the code is for that. That brings me into my next question, but I think Board Member Kelly had something else.
I just wanted to make a look. Do you have your friendly face on when you go over there? Yeah, that one. Do you have that one on? Oh, okay. Okay.
You would actually be surprised. We're dealing with a property owner right now who, you know, they're just afraid to take government
They
money.
don't trust. Yeah,
They just don't.
that would be me.
They don't want to take the money. There's a building. I mean, I almost lost it with this guy the other day because, you know, he's nitpicking the application and you know, and some certain things we have to waive. Like, for example, there's a 25% match. You're not going to get anything done if you require 25% match because most of these businesses don't have $25,000 to come out of pocket to match it. So you're not going to get anything done. So we waive that provision. But this, you know, this person is nitpicking everything, but yet his building on 27th Avenue is one of the worst buildings on 27th Avenue. And I'm like, well, okay, you don't have to take the grant, but you have to fix up your building. Like, you need to do something with this building. It needs paint. The parking lot has potholes in it. You need to do something with the building. So to answer your question, there have been people that just don't, there probably, I would say 3 people that I know off the top of my head. They don't want government money. They don't want us. They don't want our money. They don't want to be attached to us. They think there's some fine print when they take it that they have to give us their business or something, and they just don't want to deal with us. I'm not sure if that's the case with the tire shop, but I do know that I've been there personally myself and met with the old man in the back who says his 2 daughters run the properties or run the business. I think one of them is a lawyer. And we've reached out. I will reach out again as well.
Do they own that entire script?
So it's the tire place, and then next door to the tire place, it's like a cafeteria,
Cafeteria.
and there's like a body shop or some type of mechanic shop in the back. And those 2 parcels is what I'm aware that they own.
Okay, you know, because I was thinking that maybe if you got the person that owned the building, and if we could do something, if it's nothing but the signage and some landscaping, you know, tire shop is on the corner. That's why it's such a sore. But if we could maybe get in touch with the building, the person that owns the building. I don't know whether each one of those individual businesses, do they own their business or are they leasing that from someone? That might be another avenue to try to get it cleaned up because it's really bad right there on that corner. And we're gonna be doing so much across the street, starting with the liquor store coming north. And that side is gonna look nice. And then you're gonna look across the street at when people going north, it's not gonna look good. So to get something going over there would really be good.
Yes, ma'am.
Board Member Kelly?
If you could just make sure as you're going and you're reaching out to the business, you also keep a list of those who are rejecting, who don't want to be a part for whatever their reason. So we'll know that as well, because we do get asked questions. Why didn't you? So like you said, some people just don't want to, but at least we'll know those businesses as well.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
You know, I have another question. When we reaching out to businesses like the restaurant, people to come in with the restaurant, we going to require them to bring, I know you said they need to have some skin in the game. Is it going to be that 25% threshold that we have? Oh, okay, so it's going to be according to the project. So that won't be a part of our like our business assistance program. That'll be different.
No, that would be a separate deal altogether.
Okay, so the business assistance is definitely different than those projects.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The business across the street, where we with right here on the corner.
Purchasing.
Yes.
We are right now in our due diligence phase. And so we're doing the environmentals, we're doing the entitlements, and I think we're scheduled to close sometime in the middle of October.
Okay. And that's the property right across the street. We're looking at, what's the address?
319 Opa-locka Boulevard, I believe.
And that's the turkey place in the back.
319 is a pink building, and the turkey place is another address that escapes me right now, but it's another address on Fisherman.
Yeah, but that's all one project.
It's all one project.
Okay. Okay, so we're looking at that as well. Any other projects that you want to share with us tonight or?
Well, one of the things I had on the update was just to get your direction, because I know you all remember before I got here again, you all were in negotiations with Mr. Ball for his site, which is next to north of the Chinese restaurant. And that was contemplated at the time by you all to buy both of those sites because one presumably wouldn't work without the other because of the parking. So we've been in contact with his realtor. They reached back out. And I think if you remember, I think the appraisal came in at 620. Mr. Ball was asking 720 or 750, I believe. The CRA, I believe, countered with 650. Mr. Ball countered with 700. And then we've been at a stalemate for the past 9 months. They've come back and said that they would accept our 650 offer. So I'm just bringing it to the board. I've already started, asking the legal team to draw up the contract. We need to do another appraisal just to make sure that the appraisal that was done 2 years ago is the same. So we did that, but I've got those balls moving in anticipation of hearing back from you on what you think we should do in terms of moving forward.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Board Member Kelly.
Thank you. Mr. Attorney, we can discuss this. We can discuss this that the director's talking about now.
Yeah, we can. We're just having open discussion about.
Okay, thank you. One of the concerns that I had when we were talking about Person First was the fact that it's so close to the gas station and the environmental and what would be there once we assume buying it. And I know we hadn't got that far down the road because we're still looking at the price. So in your due diligence, that's still a major concern of mine because of its proximity to the gas station. I don't want us to buy it and then discover, the cleanup side or whatever, is going to limit us to what we could develop there. So how are you approaching that? Or is that something that's going to be part of?
Part of the entire due diligence process and
Okay,
So-
but I mean, in terms of even terms of the amount, because now they're willing to take 650, I guess that's probably to realize the best they're gonna get. But before we would even accept the 650, part of your due diligence is looking at the environmentals or whatever, before you bring it back to us, because that's still a major concern that I have.
Point
Yes, sir.
taken, point taken.
Yes, sir. Same thing we did with the Chinese restaurant.
Right, thank you.
So the environmental that we did with the Chinese restaurant, we still would have to do one with the Ball property as well.
Yes,
Okay. And the environmental with the Chinese restaurant, that's completed.
yes.
Okay. Okay. I would like to see, even after we're finished with the projects, if somewhere on those properties, it doesn't have to be a big sign, after we're done, but somewhere that it would be on those properties that the CRA, was a part of that project. And also the one down on 27th Avenue where they're building the, senior, complex.
Yes.
I think we did, we helped them as well. And I don't see a CRA sign,
You should drive by.
huh?
You should drive by again.
Oh, okay.
You know we want to see signs.
You know,
I'll be riding.
you know, I'm
should-
the
you should
sign, I'm
drive
the
by- you
sign
should-
lady.
You should drive by tonight and look at the center of the building and you'll see the big OCRA sign right there.
Okay.
I think it was put there on Thursday or Friday.
Okay, so that's on the 27th Avenue side.
On the 27th Avenue side, right dab in the middle.
Okay, all right. All right, you got me. Y'all know I'm the sign lady. I want to see signs, So, looks like we're moving forward. We can't vote on anything. We need to, poll the board, please, so that we could have another meeting before September the 30th.
Yes.
But yes, Madam Chair, for the record, the budget needs to be approved before September 30th. So, we need to poll the board immediately this week.
Okay,
And Madam Chair,
yes.
I would ask that, if it's okay with the attorney, I brought the Ball property up. And if there is no objection from the three people that are sitting here, and when I say there is no objection, that means you don't say you object, then I'm gonna move forward with the appraisal and sending over a contract.
I think that's just for informational purposes, Madam Chair. So we'll continue the process with regards to evaluation and that, but nothing's coming before the board now for
No.
direction. So that's just informational.
Because I think previously when we were talking about purchasing the Chinese restaurant, I think when we voted on, I think the Ball project was a part of that.
It was. But then it dropped because of
The price. Okay,
price.
okay. All right, well,
Madam Chair,
yes, sir.
can we get an update on the, well, I know you already talked about some of the property, but can we get update on the prayer garden and the other one, since they're up under, they were probably just discussion, they weren't voting items, correct?
Yes. The prayer garden, we've started, unfortunately, the lawn man went on vacation, but it needs to get cut. But we did an initial trim of the trees. We cut the grass. We have done some irrigation work that you can't see. We've repaired the electrical box that's out there. We have ordered 5 light poles that should be coming this week or next week. So we'll be installing light poles there. After all that is done, once the light poles are in, we are scheduled to probably in the next 2 or 3 weeks start putting mulch around the place and start planting. So hopefully by the end of October, we'll have a groundbreaking or a ribbon cutting ceremony with nice plants, shrubberies, and lots of butterflies.
Butterfly plants, right?
Yes.
I was just gonna say the same thing. Yeah, the right kind of plants, because I've been
We
hearing,
got a butterfly.
we got the wrong
garden.
kind of plants down there that are not going to attract butterflies, so
And
make
we
sure
and we also changed the sign because we had a leftover business incentive improvement sign, and they put that there, but it didn't look like right because it's not a business improvement. So we changed the sign to say Rose Titus Butterfly Park coming soon. So that's moving. We probably spent, I would say, $20,000 so far. But we did, like I said, the trimming of the trees, the grass, that was done initially. It needs to be done again. We ordered the light poles. We had an issue with the permit with the electrical for the light poles. That was resolved. I think we filled out the logo on the application was the wrong application. That's been resolved with the building official. And we did the electrical work, got permits for that. Irrigation, got a permit for that. And that's it. We're just waiting on the poles, and they'll be installed. And after that's done, we'll start putting the mulch and the trees and the butterflies.
Okay, sounds good.
And I also have been in touch with Ms. Rose Titus to give her an update.
That's even better.
Board
Board Member Irving.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Question. I'm not sure if you were up there, late last week. I sent the young lady up that was about to be homeless. And I sent her because I thought that if, persons were moving into the city, that we would help them, become residents of Opa-locka. But she came downstairs and said, oh, they can't help me because I don't already live here and there's no more funding for it. So I just wanted to get an update. Am I wrong with that? Because I thought that that was one of the chairwoman's idea to help people move into Opa-locka at some point. So I did take her number.
Yeah, I
but-
have her information. She currently lives on Miami Beach. Oh, I don't want to get into her business, but
Okay,
we couldn't help her because our program is for rental assistance and mortgage assistance for people that are currently living in Opa-locka that are behind on their rent or mortgage. That's what the legislation says. So there is an idea, I think you all passed a home ownership program that we would help people moving in, buying a house into the city. There is no program that exists that helps a renter move into Opa-locka, CRA. Now, if you want that to be the case, then you would just have to ask me to present the resolution to make that the case, and then we would do that. But right now, as it stands, the rental assistance program is for people that live here that are behind on the rent. And by the way, I think it's over. I think we spent the last dime like a couple weeks ago. Yeah, so we don't have any more money in that account. So if number one, if you want to re-up that, that's something you could discuss in the budget process. We didn't put it back in the budget. But if you want to put it back in the budget, you can. If you want to create a new program that helps people move into the Opa-locka CRA with the down payment assistance for rent, first line of security, we could present you with a resolution that would start that with the funding behind it as well. But right now, we could not help that woman.
okay.
So
But we did help her, by the way, just so you know. I don't know if she showed you, but we gave her we printed out 60 pages of every single contact information, every single resource to help someone in need. It's a 60-page document that the county homeless trust produced. We printed all of that out for her. We gave it to her with all the contact phone numbers, email addresses for all those people. And it's very sad because I probably spent an hour and a half with that lady.
You did.
And
Thank you.
we were on the phone calling the 1-800 homeless hotline over and over and over again. We called the director, Vicky Millette, over and over again, and no one answered the telephone. At some point, I had to get back to work,
Right.
but no one answered the telephone. So I feel sorry for those people that are trying to reach out on that hotline, trying to get help because they're not going to get an answer.
And she had a teenage son that was with her. Yeah.
Yes.
So, Mr. Director, you think that, if the board, when it comes before the board in the upcoming, budget, which starts in October, right? Um, we could maybe look at some legislation to, doesn't have to be the large amount that we had before, that people that are in that dire need, that we could possibly, if they want to move into Opa-locka and something is available, that we could help them along that line. But to put some criteria there that you just don't have a lot of people coming to get a place to stay for 3 months and then they go somewhere else. And we've just, lined the pocket of the landlord. Because in doing the rental assistance program, and I know that it was a lot for staff, I know that y'all went through a lot with people trying to help them, but a lot of citizens don't agree with that program because they say people just take advantage of it. But if we would make sure that we put safeguards in place, that we are helping people, and you can't weed out everybody, but try to weed out the people that or the landlords that are just taking advantage of getting the money and then still evicting the person, because they know that if the person is making $500 a month and the rent is $1,500, you're going to be putting them out again in another 3 months because they can't afford it. So, and I know you all can't be a social service department. We need that in Opa-locka, but I think maybe it would be good if we look at that in some form.
We will take a look at that and bring something back to you. We'll look at what other CRAs are possibly doing in that realm, and bring something back to you with criteria.
Madam Chair, along the same lines, because, and they're here, so I'm glad it came to my mind, because I already thinking about it. All this week, well, not all this week, the week has started, but yesterday I've had 2 or 3 folks with rental housing, no place to stay, getting put out, or conditions are terrible, and so the folks won't fix it, et cetera. And I was thinking about trying to come up with something that we could do, not only CRA, obviously city, and other agencies such as 10 North and any others that might be around, but just strategically or centrally folks in Opa-locka, because we're getting it all the time in office, and I'm calling, it's like you said, calling and not getting anywhere. So I'm of the opinion at this point that we have to maybe try to look at something that we can do. And the chair's talking about a social service. I know the city's kind of looking at that, and so we can maybe wrap around as a whole, but we've got to look at that in the city, because I get it every day. I get stopped, folks, I had a lady yesterday. She's got a son that, he's grown, but he has health issues, and they're getting put out because the place they're staying really is not good. They got the Section 8, whatever, but they're not getting any kind of help, and they're coming looking for something. It's kind of like what you did. You print out 60 pages, but, and so we've got to really look at that. So I don't know, resource wise, budgetary wise, you can do, but I'd like for you at some point, and really the board, to look at some kind of, I want to say gathering, but some kind of brainstorming. I don't know, I don't know how to write words. We got to look at that here in Opa-locka, because we're seeing it, like the vice mayor said, we're seeing it, we're sending people. We're not really sure where we should be sending them. But I think to the board, we need to kind of look at that. So I'll let you and your staff kind of brainstorm it. And I know they're listening, even though I'm not calling their name, but the folks sitting over there to my left, because I know they do social service, and the others that might be in the city. But I get it all the time. And I really feel bad because I don't have a place I can really send them. I mean, I can get them out of my office, give them a number, but these are folks, we know them. The couple of folks that came, they've been in this city for years, and there's just a major challenge. And I know it's countywide, but I'm really focused in Opa-locka. So if you could think about that, come back at the next meeting with any ideas, or call me or call us or whatever. But that's something on the long range we really need to look at. So
Commissioner Kelly, glad you brought that up. I don't know if this goes in line with what you're thinking, but I guess a month ago, and the chairwoman and I were thinking in the same stream. We're looking at, and we pulled all of the, I don't know how many properties, but we pulled all of the properties that are housing properties within the Opa-locka CRA, pulled them off the MLS, mapped them out. And we now have someone on staff that's contacting the realtors for all those properties, and mostly the properties that are in bad condition. So the idea would be that we would purchase those properties, fix them up, and then use them for transitional housing for people that live in Opa-locka. So we would become the landlord. We would, if somebody's in need, we would have the flexibility to, not do the first, last, and security, or not charge a premium rent. Obviously, there would be criteria to that, but the idea is that we're starting now is to start looking at, I don't want to call it land banking, but fixing up derelict properties within the within the Opa-locka CRA, and then renting them out to Opa-locka residents in need, either on a temporary basis as a transitional thing, or even, selling them to someone, that can qualify to purchase, and helping them out to become homeowners.
Well, I'm kind of thinking along the same lines, and really not just CRA, because I know your boundaries are limited, but I'm really looking CRA and city. But I think that's a real issue that we just can't keep closing our eyes. So we see it every single day. And some of these folks, they don't have where to go. They're just kind of stuck in between. So I look forward to whatever you are working on, and give me a call or whatever we can discuss further, and come back to the board. And, yeah, thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
And also along those same lines that, we could work with agencies, with organizations in the community that does that type of, that have housing. And, if they could, set aside something, 1 or 2 apartment complexes, that when we have these, because the people that live in Opa-locka, one thing I've learned about old timers that live in Opa-locka, they want to stay here. They're not like the young people want to run. They love where they live, and they want to stay here because they catch the bus. The free bus is able to take them around, and they're comfortable in that place. And you don't want to uproot people, and send them down south or send them to Hollywood. So I think that would be something great for us to look at, so that we could make sure that we're taking care of our residents. I know that the CRA is not a large portion of the community. That's something I would like for us to look at as well. Let's look at expounding the boundaries of the CRA. And on that, how is the code enforcement for the CRA? How's that going?
I'll need to check and get back with you. The last time I heard was that they were interviewing, and that was about 3.5 weeks ago. So I'll check to see where they are on that.
Okay, because when I ride around in some of the CRA areas, a lot of trash is being thrown over there in Magnolia North and some of those lots. A lot of trash is being thrown over there. So if we have our own code enforcement people, they should be riding that area, and they should see that trash. It's been out there now for a little while. So please follow up with those code enforcement people and let us know what's going on.
Yes, ma'am.
That's it for me. Anything else, Mr. Director, you would like to share? Mr. Attorney?
Mr. Attorney has to leave. I know he's going to kill me if I keep talking. But I would just encourage you to reach out if you have any questions about any agenda items. The budget is basically the budget from last year,
Except for the rental assistance.
except for the rental assistance. The programs have been re-up, all that carryover, because we didn't get much accomplished in terms of doing the projects. So the budget is almost a mirror of what we did last year.
Okay, so we have the problem with the people getting paid timely. We worked that out with the state, so that's going good.
No, we have not worked that out. We're doing better, but it takes us to do a lot of pushing and a lot of driving to people's homes to get things signed off. But we're doing better. So I think we're doing checks.
It's not the same.
Okay, it's not the same.
But
Madam Chair, we don't have a quorum, but I'd like for you to, dig a little deeper into that on behalf of us.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, before we leave, you talked about that budget. Can you please find somewhere in that budget for my playground set, my splash pad? Please.
I think we have
please.
200,000.
Board member, if you, at the meeting, when we discuss the budget, please review what you have in your packet.
Okay, well, I
And then
just
at
got
the
my
next meeting-
packet a few minutes ago.
Please review it.
Thank you so much, sweetheart.
Please
It's
review
on-
it and report to the director what your specific wishes
It's on,
are.
it's on
for-
page, if you look on page 113 of 117, under
Okay.
capital project infrastructure.
He's trying to tell you,
Got it.
can't talk about that. What he's trying to tell you? He just said it nicely.
Covered.
He covered it, yeah.
And
Thank you.
He did what I must say, he did what he could do. He
Yes.
did great.
Thank you.
So, we thank you all for coming so diligently, for being here. Please make sure that you get your information. We're looking for, partners to work with in the CRA to push our projects forward. We can't do this all on our own. Mr. Director and staff have done a fantastic job. To our attorney, you have our best. Mr. Hill, give your wife our best. We're praying for you all as well.
I need to let him in my.
Motion to adjourn.
Call.
Yeah. Motion, well, ain't no
Second.
quorum.
He said, hit your gavel.
Okay, there you go, there you go. Thank you all for coming, come back to the next one.
I think you're in trouble.